Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be looking at something a little different. We're diving into a world of tabletop role-playing games, specifically a campaign that was played by a group of friends. It's kind of cool because we have the recordings of their actual gameplay.
Yeah.
So it's like we're right there at the table with them watching their story unfold.
Exactly. And it's fascinating because we get to see not just the narrative they create, but how their individual personalities, like their play styles, influence the game world.
Yeah, no,
They're really cool.
it's like a window into how people's minds work, but with like fantasy battles and hilarious moments thrown in.
Okay,
so
fair point.
let's unpack this. The campaign takes place in Brontaine. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not.
It's a post-apocalyptic town carved into a mountainside. You get this. The sun hasn't risen in who knows how long.
Oh, wow.
Sounds pretty bleak, right?
It is, yeah. It's the setting immediately establishes a sense of unease, and it's clear that these characters are facing some serious challenges just to survive, even before we add in any fantastical threats.
Right. Okay, so who are these brave adventurers facing the darkness? Tell me about the characters.
Okay. So we've got Uhtred. He's a locksmith turned adventurer, and he seems haunted by something in his past. There's this kind of quiet intensity to him that makes you wonder what he's seen and what secrets he's carrying. Then there's Grimlock, a bard. And he's actually still trying to master his instrument. He seems like the charismatic type, the one who uses his wit and charm to navigate tricky situations.
Yeah, I love a good bard.
Yeah.
Music and storytelling are always at the heart of a great adventure.
Yes, definitely.
What else is in the party?
So we have Tinder, the fire mage. And he's got a bit of a temper, which could be interesting considering the frigid, sunless climate of Brontaine.
Right.
And finally, there's Travis, the bone-obsessed warrior. He's got this really dark, almost prophetic way of speaking that hints at a deeper understanding of the world and its dangers.
Bone obsessed. Okay, so we've got a diverse group here with a mix of personalities and skills. What kind of threats are they facing in this desolate world? You mentioned something about creatures called miscreants and ghouls earlier.
Right. So these creatures are central to the campaign's overarching mystery and danger. The miscreants seem to be like the more immediate threat. They're described as savage, almost feral beings, and the players are tasked with investigating their presence near the town.
So the players are like the town's protectors, the ones who venture out into the darkness to confront these threats. Who gives them this mission?
It's the town sheriff, a fellow named Herker. And he's portrayed as a bit cowardly and opportunistic, more interested in his own safety and profit than the well-being of the town. He promises the players rewards if they clear the path north, which is where these miscreants are said to be gathering.
So basically, the sheriff's like some kind of shady dealer, more than like a protector. Do you think this hints at a deeper level of corruption within Brontaine?
It definitely raises some questions. It seems like Brontaine is a place where trust is scarce and everyone is looking out for themselves.
Right.
The players are stepping into a situation where the lines between good and evil, right and wrong, are blurred.
So the players set out on this mission to confront the miscreants. What happens next?
Well, their first challenge is simply surviving the journey. They have to traverse a treacherous mountain pass in the middle of a blizzard.
Oh, wow.
And the recordings really capture the harshness of the environment and how it impacts the characters. For example, Tinder, the fire mage, actually suffers a disadvantage in combat because of the extreme cold.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Fire and ice don't exactly mix. I guess even a powerful magic user can't completely control the elements.
Exactly. And there's this great moment in the recording where Tinder, right before getting blasted with freezing wind, shouts, "This is my kind of weather."
Oh, my goodness.
It highlights the player's sense of humor and how they embrace the unpredictable nature of the game.
That's great. So they're not taking things too seriously, even when they're facing these like life or death situations.
Right. They're finding these moments of levity, even in the midst of danger, which makes the game even more engaging for both the players and us as listeners.
So they battle the elements and finally reach the location of these miscreants. What happens when they encounter their first foe?
It's a tense and brutal fight, but we also see some impressive teamwork from the players. Grimlock uses his bardic abilities strategically, not just to inspire his companions, but also to manipulate the battlefield to their advantage.
Give me an example.
Sure. So he casts a spell called Earth Tremor, which knocks both the miscreant leader and his hounds prone, giving the players a significant advantage.
Okay.
It shows that Grimlock's player isn't just relying on flashy spells, but thinking tactically about how to best support the group.
Clever. It sounds like Grimlock is more than just a charming musician.
Yeah.
He's got a strategic mind as well.
Absolute.
But even with their best efforts, the fight takes a dark turn. The miscreant leader manages to kill Tinder before being defeated. It's a stark reminder of the risks they're taking.
It is.
Oh no. Is that the end for Tinder?
Not quite. The game has a mechanic called death saving throws, which essentially means there's a chance for a fallen character to be revived.
Okay.
And thankfully, Tinder manages to stabilize, but is left badly wounded. It's a close call that really ratchets up the tension and the emotional stakes for the players.
It sounds like a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
One minute they're celebrating this tactical victory, and the next they're like facing the loss of a comrade. It must have been quite a shock for them.
It was. And just when they think they've survived the worst of it, the miscreant leader does something truly disturbing before he dies. He plunges his own weapon into his stomach and tears open his chest, exposing this black, pulsating heart, and then he bursts into ashes, leaving behind this chilling message spoken in an unknown language.
Whoa. That's intense. It's like something straight out of a horror movie. Did the players understand the message?
Not at the time. It's one of those mysteries that slowly unraveled throughout the campaign. But the visual imagery and the sheer creepiness of the event clearly rattled them, especially Uhtred.
Yeah, what was Uhtred's reaction? He seemed like a pretty stoic character.
He starts hearing voices, these whispers that taunt him with threats of ghouls and hint at some past trauma. It seems this encounter has triggered something deep within him, something connected to those shadowy forces that lurk at the edges of the game world.
Okay. So it sounds like Uhtred has a lot of baggage he's carrying, both literally and figuratively.
Exactly. He's a complex character who adds another layer of intrigue to the campaign, and his struggle with these dark forces is just beginning.
This is already so captivating. We've got this group of adventurers thrown into a world of danger and mystery, facing not only external threats, but also inner demons. It's the perfect blend of action, intrigue, and psychological drama.
Absolutely. And we've only just scratched the surface. The players return to Brontaine, battered but victorious, ready to claim their reward from the sheriff. But things are about to get a lot more complicated. Welcome back to our deep dive into this thrilling tabletop RPG campaign. Last time we left our heroes facing a town teetering on the brink of collapse, a mysterious locked crate they acquired from a caravan, and a creeping sense that they were just scratching the surface of a much larger threat.
It was like the air itself was getting heavier in Brontaine.
Oh.
Poor Gerd, those whispers, those visions. It seemed like the encounter with the miscreant really shook him to his core. Did he find any relief when they got back to town?
Unfortunately, no. As the game progresses, those haunting voices continue to plague Uhtred. They taunt him with snippets of his past, especially a traumatic event that seems to involve a betrayal and the destruction of his former community. It's a fascinating exploration of how trauma can manifest even within the context of a fantasy game.
You're right. It adds a whole other dimension to the story. It makes you think about the characters not just as adventurers, but as people grappling with very real, very human struggles.
Exactly. And it reminds us that even in a fantastical world, the emotional and psychological consequences of our choices matter.
Speaking of choices, let's talk about Travis declaring himself the new sheriff of Brontaine. That was a bold move, to say the least. Was that a power grab, or do you think there was more to it?
Well, on the surface, it does seem like a rather opportunistic move, taking advantage of the current sheriff's weakness and the general chaos in town. But remember, Travis is obsessed with bones, with structure and permanence. Maybe in a world that's literally falling apart around him, he's trying to create a sense of order, however flawed his methods won't be.
That's a really interesting take. It's like he's fighting against the decay and entropy, trying to hold things together, even as everything crumbles. It makes his fascination with bones seem less macabre and more like a desperate attempt to cling to something solid, something lasting.
I think you're spot on. It adds a layer of complexity to his character, suggesting a deeper motivation behind his actions. And it's this interplay between order and chaos, both within the characters and the world around them, that makes this campaign so compelling.
Absolutely. And let's not forget that mysterious crate they brought back from the caravan. It seems like that's going to play a significant role in the story moving forward. Have they had any luck figuring out how to open it?
The crate is a constant source of mystery and frustration for the players. They discover it's sealed with a powerful magical lock, and Grimlock, with his knowledge of arcane lore, realizes he needs a specific spell to break the enchantment.
So it's like a puzzle box with a magical combination lock, and they don't have the right tools yet.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about how this game master designs their challenges?
It's a clever way to create suspense and anticipation. The players know there's something important inside, something that might help them in their fight against the encroaching darkness, but they have to work for it. It's not just about brute force. They need knowledge, strategy, and maybe even a bit of luck.
It's like they're being tested not just physically, but intellectually and magically as well.
Exactly. And while they're trying to crack the code of the crate, the situation in Brontaine continues to deteriorate. Remember Doris, the seemingly harmless woman selling meat in the town square? Well, things aren't quite what they seem.
You're right, there was something off about her. What did the players discover?
As they investigate further, they uncover evidence that Doris is under the control of those same shadowy forces that are behind the miscreants and the ghouls. And the meat she's selling, well, let's just say it's not from any animal you'd find in a butcher shop.
Okay, that's disturbing. It's like the darkness is spreading, seeping into every corner of Brontaine, even into something as seemingly ordinary as a meat pie.
It creates this pervasive sense of unease, a feeling that nowhere is safe, and that even the most mundane things can be corrupted. The players are faced with a choice. Do they try to fight this corruption head-on, or they focus on opening the crate, hoping it holds the key to understanding and defeating this evil?
That's a tough call. Do they risk their lives to try to save a town that seems beyond saving? Or do they prioritize their own survival and the potential power hidden within the crate? What do they decide?
After a lot of debate and soul-searching, they choose to focus on the crate. They reason that if they can unlock its secrets, they might find a way to fight back against the forces that are corrupting Brontaine and perhaps even the world beyond.
That makes sense. It's a strategic decision, but it also reflects their own sense of self-preservation. They're not giving up on Brontaine entirely, but they're also acknowledging the limits of their power.
Precisely. And this decision sets them on a new path, a journey that will take them beyond the confines of Brontaine and deeper into the mysteries of this post-apocalyptic world.
So they're leaving Brontaine behind, carrying a locked crate full of unknown potential and facing a world where danger lurks around every corner. What about Uhtred? Did he manage to overcome those haunting voices, or are they still tormenting him?
Sadly, Uhtred's inner turmoil continues to plague him. In fact, as they prepare to leave Brontaine, the voices intensify, taunting him with visions of his past and whispering doubts about his strength and his worth.
It's like those dark forces are trying to break him, to make him succumb to despair and give up on hope.
Exactly. They prey on his vulnerabilities, exploiting the trauma he's carrying to undermine his confidence and his resolve. It adds a psychological thriller element to the campaign as we see Uhtred battling not just external threats, but also the demons within.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we carry within ourselves. But it also highlights the strength of the human spirit, the capacity to fight back against darkness even when it feels overwhelming.
Absolutely. And that struggle, that internal battle, is what makes Uhtred such a compelling character. We're rooting for him to overcome his demons, even as we fear he might succumb to them.
So as they leave, Brontaine Uhtred is battling his inner demons. Grimlock is obsessed with unlocking the secrets of the crate. And Travis, what about Tinder? How is he doing after his near-death experience?
Tinder, despite his fiery nature, has emerged as the voice of reason in the group. He understands the gravity of the situation, but also recognizes the importance of maintaining hope. He encourages his companions, offers practical advice, and tries to lighten the mood with his dry wit.
It's interesting how even a character associated with fire can bring a sense of calm and balance to the group.
It is, and it shows how the players are working together not just in combat, but also emotionally to support each other through these challenging times.
They're a true team, facing both external threats and internal struggles. What happens next? What challenges await them as they venture beyond the walls of Brontaine?
Their departure from Brontaine is just the beginning of their adventure. They face treacherous terrain, harsh weather conditions, and the constant threat of wild animals and other dangers. Remember, this is a post-apocalyptic world where civilization has crumbled and survival is a daily struggle.
It sounds like a constant test of their skills, their endurance, and their willpower. Every step forward is a victory against the forces that are trying to break them.
And it's a test they face not only as individuals, but as a team. They have to rely on each other's strengths, compensate for each other's weaknesses, and make decisions that will determine their collective fate.
It's a powerful testament to the importance of teamwork and the bonds of friendship in overcoming adversity.
Absolutely. And as they journey further into the wilderness, they begin to encounter other survivors, individuals and communities who are also trying to make sense of this shattered world.
Ooh, new characters. That's always exciting.
Yeah.
What are these survivors like? Are they friendly, or do they pose a threat to our heroes?
That's the question that hangs in the air with each new encounter. In this world, trust is a luxury they can't afford, and every interaction is fraught with uncertainty. They encounter a group of nomads who are suspicious of outsiders, a hermit who claims to have knowledge of the ghouls, and a band of scavengers who are willing to trade information for supplies.
It sounds like a dangerous and unpredictable world full of both opportunities and threats.
Yeah.
How do the players navigate these encounters?
They have to be cautious, observant, and adaptable. They use Grimlock's charm to try to win over potential allies, Tinder's knowledge of the natural world to navigate the terrain, and Travis's combat skills to defend themselves when necessary. And Uhtred, despite his inner turmoil, proves to be a valuable asset with his keen perception and his ability to spot danger before it strikes.
It's amazing how they're using their individual strengths to overcome these challenges. They're really starting to gel as a team.
They are, and their teamwork is essential as they delve deeper into the mysteries of this world and the threat posed by the ghouls and their shadowy masters. Remember, they're still carrying that locked crate, and the hope it holds is what drives them forward.
Speaking of the crate, have they made any progress in opening it? It feels like that's been hanging over them like a tantalizing but unreachable prize.
The crate remains an enigma, a constant reminder of the mysteries that lie at the heart of their journey. Grimlock spends every spare moment poring over his spell books, searching for a clue that will unlock its secrets.
It's like a puzzle he can't quite solve, a riddle that's constantly nagging at him.
Exactly. And its significance only grows as they learn more about the ghouls. They discover that these creatures are not mindless monsters, but beings of immense power and malice capable of corrupting both flesh and spirit.
It reminds me of that scene with Dora selling human meat. It's like these ghouls were spreading a plague of darkness across the land.
That's a chilling but accurate assessment. And the crate with its unknown contents becomes a symbol of hope, a potential weapon against this encroaching evil. The players feel a sense of urgency knowing that time is running out and that the fate of this world might rest on their ability to unlock the crate's secrets.
So we've got this race against time, a battle against a terrifying enemy, and a mysterious artifact that could hold the key to salvation. It's like a classic hero's journey full of danger, intrigue, and the promise of epic confrontations.
It is, and it's a journey that's about to take a dramatic turn. The players are closing in on the location where they believe they can finally open the crate, but what awaits them there is both wondrous and terrifying.
Ooh, that sounds ominous. I can't wait to find out what happens next. You've really captured the spirit of this campaign, the blend of adventure, horror, and emotional depth.
Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying it. We'll delve into those final moments and the lasting impact of this game on the players in the third and final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It feels like we've journeyed alongside these players, facing blizzards, battling miscreants, and uncovering that unsettling truth about Brontaine's meat pies. Last we left off, our heroes had left that decaying town behind, carrying that mysterious locked crate and a whole lot of emotional baggage.
It's true, the tension was palpable. Uhtred was struggling with those disturbing voices. Grimlock was fixated on opening the crate. And the ever-pragmatic Travis, well, he was probably already strategizing their next move. Did they find a place to open the crate safely?
That's a good point. This whole time they've been on the move in a world that seems increasingly hostile. Where did they even go with this super important but still locked crate?
Their journey takes them through a desolate landscape scarred by the apocalypse. They encounter remnants of shattered communities, each with its own struggles and ways of coping with the encroaching darkness. One encounter with a group of survivors who formed a secluded, almost cult-like community really stood out to me.
A cult. Oh, that sounds fascinating and a little creepy if I'm being honest.
Right.
What were their beliefs?
They had developed a strict code of conduct and rituals they believed would protect them from the ghouls' influence. They were wary of outsiders, convinced that the outside world was completely corrupted.
So they chose isolation and rigid rules as a way to survive. Do you think it was working? Were they truly safe from the ghouls' influence?
That's the question that lingered in the air. On the surface, they seemed peaceful and organized, but there was an underlying tension, a sense of fear that permeated their interactions. It made the players question whether this community had truly escaped the darkness or simply traded one form of it for another.
That's such a thought-provoking dilemma. Is it better to face the unknown dangers of the world or to seek shelter in a community that might demand a different kind of sacrifice? What did the players do?
They wrestled with this dilemma for a while, weighing the potential benefits and risks of joining this community. Ultimately, after a tense encounter and a few crucial dice rolls, they decided to respect the community's way of life, but to continue on their own path.
It sounds like they sensed something wasn't quite right with that community. Maybe it was a wise decision to keep their distance. But all this travel, all this uncertainty, did it affect Uhtred's mental state?
Uhtred's journey is one of the most compelling aspects of this campaign. Those haunting voices continue to torment him, whispering reminders of his past trauma, the betrayal that shattered his former community. You can hear the strain in the player's voice, the way they embody Uhtred's struggle with such raw emotion.
I can only imagine how emotionally draining that must have been for the player to bring that level of vulnerability to the game. Did his companions offer any support?
They did. In their own ways, they each reached out to Uhtred, offering words of comfort, sharing stories, and simply being there for him. Grimlock, with his natural charisma, tried to lift his spirits with music and jokes. Tinder, despite his gruff exterior, listened patiently and offered words of encouragement. Even Travis, in his own blunt and pragmatic way, showed concern for Uhtred's well-being.
It's moments like these that remind us why tabletop role-playing games are so special. Yes, it's about fantasy and adventure, but it's also about the connections we forge with each other, the empathy and support we offer, even within the context of a fictional world.
I completely agree. It's those human moments, those expressions of care and understanding that make the game so much more than just rolling dice and fighting monsters.
Absolutely. But speaking of fighting monsters, I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear what happened with that mysterious crate. Did Grimlock finally manage to open it?
He did.
Yeah.
After weeks of searching, he discovered a rare and obscure spell that could break the enchantment. It's a testament to the player's dedication to the game, how they spent hours outside of the game sessions researching and strategizing.
It shows how much these players care about the story they're creating together. They're not just passively playing, they're actively engaged in shaping the narrative.
Exactly. And when Grimlock finally cast the spell and opened the crate, the moment was electric. You can hear the excitement and anticipation in everyone's voices.
So what was inside? Was it some legendary weapon, a map to a hidden treasure, or perhaps some forbidden knowledge?
None of those, actually. Inside, nestled in layers of protective cloth, was a beautifully crafted silver mask, pulsing with a faint ethereal light. It was a stunning visual, and you could sense the players were both intrigued and a little apprehensive.
A silver mask that's unexpected. What was so special about it?
As Grimlock examined the mask using his arcane knowledge, he discovered it was an ancient artifact imbued with powerful protective magic peel. Legends spoke of its ability to ward off the corrupting influence of the ghouls and even amplify the wearer's inner strength.
Wow, that's quite a find. It sounds like the perfect tool to combat the darkness spreading across the land.
Yeah.
Did they immediately put on the mask and test out its powers?
That's where things get really interesting. The mask, with its powerful magic, came with a price. To fully utilize its power, the wearer had to confront their deepest fears and embrace their true self, flaws and all.
That's a heavy burden. It's like the mask was offering both a gift and a challenge.
Yeah.
Who was brave enough to accept this responsibility?
It was Uhtred. Of all the characters, he was the one most deeply affected by the darkness, by his own inner demons. He saw the mask not just as a weapon, but as a way to potentially heal his own wounds, to confront the shadows that haunted him.
That's such a powerful moment. It's like this story came full circle with the character who was most vulnerable to the darkness, choosing to wield the very object that could potentially vanquish it.
It was incredibly moving. You could hear the shift in the player's voice, a newfound determination mixed with a touch of trepidation. As Uhtred donned the mask, the game entered a whole new phase.
So what happened? Did the mask work? Did it banish the voices that tormented Uhtred?
It did. The moment he put on the mask, a wave of energy surged through him, pushing back the darkness. The voices were silenced, replaced by a sense of clarity and purpose. It was as if the mask had not only shielded him from external threats, but also begun to heal him from within.
That's incredible. It's like the mask became a symbol of Uhtred's own inner strength, his willingness to face his fears and reclaim his own narrative.
Exactly. And this transformation had a ripple effect on the entire group. They rallied around Uhtred, inspired by his courage and determination. They were no longer just a group of adventurers. They were a team united in a common purpose to protect the world from the encroaching darkness.
So they had their weapon, their leader, and their mission. What happened next? Did they charge into battle against the ghouls?
They did. Empowered by the mask and their newfound unity, they embarked on a series of missions, venturing deeper into ghoul-infested territories, confronting terrifying creatures, and uncovering the secrets of this corrupting force. Each encounter tested their skills and their bond, pushing them to their limits.
It sounds like an epic showdown. Were they successful? Did they manage to defeat the ghouls and save the world?
The campaign culminates in a climactic battle against a powerful ghoul, a creature of immense power and malice. The players fought bravely, using their combined abilities and strategic thinking to overcome impossible odds. And in the end, yes, they were victorious.
That's amazing. It's a classic tale of good versus evil, of courage and determination triumphing over darkness.
It is, but it's also a story of growth and resilience. The players, through their characters, faced their fears, overcame their challenges, and emerged from the experience stronger and more connected to each other.
It's a beautiful reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can prevail and the bonds of friendship can light the way forward.
Exactly. And for me, that's the most powerful takeaway from this deep dive. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, the importance of human connection, and the enduring appeal of tabletop role-playing games as a medium for exploring complex themes and forging lasting friendships.
What a journey it's been. Thanks for guiding us through this fascinating world of dice rolls, epic battles, and heartfelt moments.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Till next time, keep exploring, keep playing, and keep those dice rolling.